Good morning. Yes, good morning indeed. Just wanted to do a short little video talking about some thoughts that I've been sitting on for a while now, or theories, if you will, about our history. Hey, don't peck me, Chucky. About our history and what's been hidden, twisted, lied about, etc. If you're listening to this or if you follow my channel, I'm assuming to some degree you're already aware that our history has been faked, that the World War II narrative has been fudged. But what if so much more than you could ever actually comprehend in one sitting? I ask for some patience because the ideas that I'm going to try and articulate are still somewhat beyond the grasp of language to me. Alright, so I've been doing this truth seeking for a few years now. And I sort of go down all rabbit holes, all angles. I follow them through to a conclusion, whether I find that there's bullshit, or there's lies, or there's just outright, someone trying to make a molehill out of a pebble, then I will drop it. But if I dig at something and I uncover more and more and more to dig through, I go with it. And one that's really been fascinating me is the idea of a lost empire, a civilization, an entire global civilization that has been wiped out or is being wiped out currently and has been expunged from our history books. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of the Atlantis myth. So-called myth. We know Plato talked about it, and at this point I think it's a given that such a place did indeed exist. And there are those of us who have followed the Tartarian Empire discovery. And this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky for me to articulate, but this empire that is now currently being wiped out, I feel, was an Aryan empire of sorts, and a certain symbol was prevalent in this empire, and this is why this symbol is found worldwide on old buildings in old cultures that we think aren't connected. I will put some links to some channels and some videos in my description that might clarify some of this. And what I'm getting at is that the Civil War narrative has now come under my magnifying glass. And what if I told you that is nothing like what you think it is? It wasn't about slavery. It wasn't about freeing the African man. What if I said that war was about erasing a civilization that existed before Columbus even arrived? And the only reason this might sound strange to you, or you immediately think, oh, you're crazy, is because you trust your education. You trust your narrative. Or even the modified one. Well, don't you know who ran the slave ships? Don't you know that 75% of such and such household owned slaves? Yeah, that's all true. But what if there is proof, undeniable proof, that the South is not what they were telling us it is. And I'll be linking to these videos in my description. And given the time frame of the Civil War, we pull back and look around and we see that globally there was unrest everywhere. How many revolutions were breaking out in Europe at the same time? You know, you got the Crimean War. You have the build-up that supposedly led to the wars of World War I and II. What if these seemingly disconnected revolutions and civil wars and outbreaks all over the place were connected, were an organized, concentrated invasion of this once great global civilization / empire? Because I recently found out that in the late 1800s, which seems to be the time period that all of this stuff starts happening, that a Russian warships made it down as far as Tasmanian waters. And that there was a Russophobe narrative now being sold to cover up whatever that reason was, to have these ships in far south Australian waters. So, I apologize if this isn't making too much sense, but what I'm suggesting is that this ancient civilization, you know, call it the descendants of Atlantis, if you will, or the great Tartarian Empire, there was most definitely another empire that did exist that has been expunged from the history books. And I am beginning to be of the opinion that all the unrest that happened in so many European nations, in the Americas, even in Australia, etc., the Philippines, these were not disconnected, these were connected. These were the movements to wipe out this empire that represented itself with the sun wheel. And you all know the symbol I'm talking about. And what if this was the reason that a certain Austrian painter used that symbol in his war? Did he know about what was happening? Did he see the erasure of these peoples, these cities, this empire? The use of that symbol wasn't misappropriated or twisted. What if that symbol was meant to represent the battle for the empire that was being erased? And we're still living in it. It's become more of a psychological war on the remnants. But we're still seeing our cities changed, ancient monuments and buildings destroyed, ancient bloodlines, because we all have bloodlines. We're all here today because of families that survived thousands of years. How many families have children today who won't have children and take that bloodline with them to the grave? So, yeah. We're part of something so much bigger than we can ever understand. So much bigger. Forget everything you think you know about every narrative you taught in school or saw it on the Discovery Channel or the history documentary. Forget all of that. It's all bullshit. The framework is there, but the details that they fill it in with are the details that perpetuate our demise and our culture's degradation. Just some food for thought. This shouldn't make anyone angry. I encourage people to open their minds and their hearts. And as I said, I understand if this doesn't make sense, because coming to this place of understanding has taken me months, if not a year or more, of learning, listening to the men in my life who read history books, read official documents, People usually say you can't just watch a YouTube video and call that research and be informed, and that's true. But you can seek information from people in your life who read alongside videos, if those videos have been made by people who are researchers. Don't discredit it.